Yo, how's it going, YouTube? I'm back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about how the Cleveland Cavaliers have been dominating the NBA up to this point and could be finals contenders by the time that the playoffs do roll around at the end of this season. So I'm going to get into a few reasons in this video why I think Cleveland has been so good and why I think if they can stay healthy, they can continue to dominate the league going forward. So if that does sound interesting to you, please watch this video all the way through, hit the like button and subscribe button, it would mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. So the first thing that I want to get for this video is going to be the fact that they have both an elite front court and an elite back court, which is not something that a lot of teams in the NBA can say. They either have a very good center and power forward combination or a very good guard combination, but very few teams can say that they have both, and that is exactly what the Cleveland Cavaliers are able to do, as their backcourt has at point guard Darius Garland, who is an all-star level player and made his first all-star game just last year, and then high flyer Donovan Mitchell, who has been playing out of his mind recently with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he has looked like a completely new player. He was already really good with Utah, but he's been even better in the first few games with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But let's kind of get into Darius Garland a little bit more and break down why this backcourt works just so good. It's because Darius Garland, although he was out with an eye injury early in the season, he has already shown flashes in the games of that he's returned in that he is still that all-star level player that he was the year before, and him and Donovan are going to work together very, very well. Because although Garland is a very good scorer and give you around 20 to 23 points per game, and if he's hot, he can take over a game, he is a pass-first point guard, which is why they drafted him at first to pair him with Collin Sexton, because Sexton was a lot more of a scorer, but now they just have a better version of that, because Garland is still a very good passer. He's really a pass-first guy at heart. He plays very solid defense, and he's just all around a very nice point guard to have. He can pretty much do anything you want your point guard to do. And then you move to Donovan Mitchell, who kind of took Collin Sexton's role, and he is just better at it than he was, because Donovan Mitchell is an elite scorer and he's one of the best in the entire NBA, and he's even took that up a notch since joining the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he's just looked like a completely new guy. And something he never really was able to experience in Utah was another guard that's able to take so much pressure off him, and just scorers all around him that can take so much pressure off of him. And I think that's why he's doing so good, because now he has scorers like Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, Kevin Love, and just so many other scorers that can do it at any point in time, that Donovan Mitchell now is not the main focus for teams' defense, and teams have to focus on the players around him, which opens the floor for him a lot, and that is why he has been so much better with the Cleveland Cavaliers than he ever was with the Utah Jazz. And really, at this point in the season, you would be hard-pressed to find a better backcourt so far. Now, there could be debates with a few other teams, but right now, Cleveland is up there with the best of the backcourts in the entire NBA right now, hands down. And then even if you go to their front court, it is just as good, maybe even a higher ceiling than their backcourt, because what their front court is consisted of is an elite shot blocker, an elite athlete in Jarrett Allen, and then just one of the highest ceiling players and unicorn-type players in the league right now, Evan Mobley. And both of them, just like their backcourt, works perfectly together, because Jarrett Allen is not exactly a scorer. Although he can give you around 15 points a game, he is not going to be that elite scorer, but what he is going to be is an elite rim protector, an elite rebounder, and a very unselfish player. And he's very good in the alley-oop game, the pick and roll game, and he just helps his team in so many different ways instead of just scoring. And the reason that scoring, or lack thereof scoring, for Jarrett Allen isn't that big of a deal, because his big man partner alongside of him is Evan Mobley, and Evan Mobley is a much more offensive-minded big, but he's not just an offensive player by any means. He is a very good rebounder still, and a very, very good shot blocker as well. So by no means is he the offensive side and Jarrett Allen is the defensive side. They can both do both things very well. Mobley is just, I don't think you can argue, the better offensive player, and he can probably get you around 15 to 20 points per game any given night, and that is mainly due to the versatility of Mobley's game. He can handle the ball very, very good for a big. He has very good shooting for a big. He can pretty much score from anywhere on the court, and that offense is still developing a lot for him, and he's only going to get better and better as he develops and time goes on. So his offense should really be able to carry that front court load, all while Jarrett Allen is still holding it down in the paint, being the traditional or the more traditional type big, and they just work together very, very well. And then you mesh together that they also are combined with that elite backcourt that they have. They just work so good together, and they really do form one of the best backcourt frontcourt duos the NBA has seen in a very long time. And now that I've talked about their 4 stars on their starting lineup, let's talk about how good the rest of this roster is built, and that's really this whole second reason that I have that the Cleveland is going to be so good going forward, because undoubtedly over the 82-game season of the NBA, injuries are going to happen to your best players, like minor ones, maybe not season-ending, but still players are going to have to step up, and that is a big strength of this Cleveland Cavaliers team, because even outside of those 4 stars that they have very solid players littered throughout the entire roster, and you can see that just starting at their starting small forward, who is Caris LeVert. And Caris LeVert is one of the more underrated players in the entire league, and he is probably the best 5th man in a starting lineup in the entire NBA, as this season he is currently averaging 15 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, and 7 assists per game. And by the way, he is doing that as the 5th best player in the starting lineup, which is insane. When your 5th best player is matching up with other team's 5th best player, but yours is Caris LeVert, who can score at any point in the floor, and really if he's hot, he can almost win a game by himself. That's how good Caris LeVert can be on any given night. That is going to be a very hard matchup for any team to deal with, and he's going to be able to step up a lot, especially if injuries do happen. Then he is going to be able to step up, and his offensive game is going to help a lot, and he's just an all-around very solid player. And for that to be your 5th option on your lineup, that is very, very good, and probably one of the best, if not the best, in the entire NBA. And even if you go farther down this roster to their 6th man, it doesn't get much worse at all, as their 6th man is Kevin Love. And Kevin Love is an extremely good 6th man. He's one of the best in the league. Last year, he was in contention to win 6th man of the year, and he is just so good at that role, because if one of those front court players in Evan Mobley or Jared Allen go down, he is another big man who can score from pretty much any point in the floor while still being solid at everything else, and he just fits in perfectly with this team. And when you have someone at his experience level and still at his skill level with the skills that he brings as a big, that is huge to have as your 6th man, and you know you're going to get consistent production out of a veteran like Love. So he just fits this team perfectly as well, and is one of the better 6 men in the entire league. So that's now already one of the best, if not the best 5th option, and then one of the best 6 men options in the entire NBA right there back to back. And then although they're kind of role players after that aren't anything special, they're still very solid, because if you look at someone like Cedi Osman, he's been part of this team for years now, and he knows the system in and out. He has tons of chemistry with everyone on the roster, and he knows what his role is, and he is very good at his role, and he's one of the most solid role players in the entire NBA. He's very consistent. You know what you're going to get from him night in and night out. And then they have even other reserves out there like Isaac Okoro, who is still a fairly big part of this team, but he didn't work out to the point to where they probably hoped where they drafted him a few years ago, but he's still a very athletic player, a very good perimeter defender, and he does play a part in this team. And then other players like Robin Lopez and Dean Wade, both are very solid players, and they do contribute where they can. So this team is very deep, they play very good, and their 5th and 6th options are some of the best in the entire NBA. You combine that with one of the best front court and back courts combination probably in the league right now, that is going to be a very hard team to deal with at any point for any team, playoffs or not. And I could easily see them making a run out of the Eastern Conference and all the way to the finals. Now, yes, it's far from guaranteed with teams like the Milwaukee Bucks standing in their way, but still, they're going to be able to compete with those teams, and really the only thing holding them back is lack of experience and them being a kind of young team. But give them a few years, I think this team will make it to the finals within the next 5 years if they're able to stick together and stay healthy. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video, so comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that the Cleveland Cavaliers could make the finals in the next 5 years? How good do you think they can be this year? Do you think they're going to make it this year? Or here are all your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the video, point to the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute word to me. And I hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.